Adam, we've got our first guest right now. He's the man they call Money, Chad Money Mendes, a man who 3 years ago today stepped into the octagon across from Conor McGregor on 1 week's notice, just over a week's notice. Had a great first round. Second round, unfortunately, got stopped right at the end of the round by McGregor. And since then, he's gone on to lose another fight. But after a 2.5-year layoff due to a USADA suspension, he is back this weekend facing Miles Jury at UFC Fight Night in Boise, Idaho. And he joins us right now on the TSN MMA show.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to introduce this week's guest.
Joining us now on the TSN MMA show, he's back. Chad Mendes, great to have you back in the UFC. I was actually thinking about you this weekend because we saw what happened with Max Holloway, him pulling out of the fight, and it brought back memories to International Fight Week 3 years ago where you came in and took on Conor McGregor on short notice. Did you have flashbacks as well?
I did, man. I was actually wondering if I was going to get a call.
I was wondering the same thing. I mean, you're fight ready. You're ready to go. Were you hoping the phone would ring?
I actually was. I would have taken it this time. I was in shape. I'm ready to go. Would have been able to make the weight. Well, the weight still would have been tough, but it would have been doable. But I was kind of hoping, but nope, no call.
Can you imagine what a redemption story? You come back from suspension, you come in and you beat Brian Ortega to become the interim champion. That would have been really cool.
That would have been really cool.
But you've got bigger fish to fry this weekend. You've got a fight coming up. How does it feel to be back? What's it like to be getting back in the octagon against Miles Jury?
Man, it feels so good. This time off has been awesome for me, both mentally, physically. Just let my body heal up. Everything is back on point. No more bumps and bruises. You know, the mind feels clear. Just everything's been on point, weight's on point. So, man, I'm excited to get in there and you know, I've switched up a little bit of training in this camp and started focusing on a little more of the science behind it with heart rate and recovery systems and different things. And, you know, I'm excited to put all this new stuff to the test. I feel incredible. You know, the other guys on my team are looking great. I love being able to fight with multiple teammates on a card, man. It always makes it so much more interesting and fun. Everyone's in there cutting weight together and pushing each other at the same time. We got a bunch of cornermen from the team here, so it's another TAM takeover for sure.
Chad, the last time we saw you, I mean, you did have the loss, but you were one of the top 3 guys in the division. Having said that, how have you evolved as a fighter? Because I'm sure with the 2+ years off, you've gotten even better. So what have you changed as far as training goes that would make you a better fighter this time around?
Yeah, as far as the technical stuff, like not having to push so hard all the time getting ready for a fight, you can really focus on more technical stuff. And obviously, you know, there's always improvements everywhere, at least I feel like in my game. I mean, focusing on jits more, working with Chris Holdsworth a lot, you know, working stand-up still with my coaches, working a lot of technical stuff with Faber. The last few months has been really cool. But, I mean, all in all, just being able to step back from the grind and just focus on technique and making minute detailed changes and improvements, I think has been good. So that part of it I feel like has overall improved my game. But then, like I said, implementing these new training strategies and just doing a lot of testing and figuring out what my body's strengths and weaknesses are and trying to improve the weaknesses and keep the strength strong. You know, I've never really focused on any of that type of stuff through training. It was always just, you know, balls to the wall. Every workout's hard. You know, you get in there and get after it nonstop. So doing the peaks and valleys and really focusing on heart rate and, like, recovery and doing things a little more scientific, I feel incredible. This is one of the best, I think, camps ever that I felt fight week. So hopefully that transfers over into the fight well, and we can get in there and get a W on Saturday.
I was going to ask you, Chad, there was an interview you did a little while ago where you said, you know, the layoff in a way was a blessing in disguise because you did suffer the back-to-back knockout losses. You know, as far as physically, as far as your brain goes, how have you recovered? Like, has that really helped you, and do you feel like you're going to become, you know, the next champion of the featherweight division when you get back?
Yeah, man, I think taking this time off, you know, there's 2 fights. It was Conor and Frankie, and, you know, both rung my bell. So, you know, just stepping out for a little bit and having time, not getting punched in the head, I think was huge. You know, and being able to, like I said, train more of the technical side of it. Not only, you know, made my game better as far as not getting hit in the head, but not getting hit in the head, having to do a bunch of hard sparring and stuff, getting ready for a fight. So all in all, I feel great. I mean, sparring all through this camp, I felt great. Got tagged, got hit, everything was good. So, like I said, let's hope all that transfers over into the fight and we can get the W. But all in all, man, I'm excited to get back in there.
You mentioned Chris Holdsworth earlier and that you were doing jiu-jitsu with him. I noticed that he's still in the USADA testing pool. Is there any chance we see Chris Holdsworth in the UFC ever again?
Oh, man, I was actually just talking to him about this the other day, but I don't know, man. To going back to the brain thing, like, his head was pretty messed up at one point, and I think that's something that, weighs heavy on him. And, ultimately, yeah, this is an entertainment business, and, we all like competing and pushing ourselves and obviously getting paid to do what we love. But at the end of the day, man, our health is something that's way more important. If you're 50 years old and you're in a wheelchair, or you can't talk because, you pushed it too hard and should have stopped and didn't, that's something you can't come back from. So, I think he realizes that, and I don't know if he's going to come back. He's been training and working hard with all of us. I think he just stays away from getting hit in the head. But, I don't know. Ultimately, that's up to him, but I think he's definitely thought about it, but also talked about, being healthy down the road. So, yeah, I don't know.
Now we see what happened with Max over the last week and him potentially having concussion-related injuries, and that's always very scary.
Yeah, man, we're crazy. I don't know what the hell's wrong with all of us, but it's a brutal sport, man. This isn't a joke. I think a lot of times people forget, even me as a fighter sometimes forget, how serious this is. We're getting in there and we're basically trying to concuss each other, trying to knock each other out. So, I mean, it's not a joke, serious things happen, and we just saw that with Max. So hopefully that dude's doing all right, man. I like Max.
Speaking of knockouts, one guy that you knocked out on your rise to the top there, Chad, was Darren Elkins, who's now your teammate, and he's on a 6-fight win streak. How's training with Darren? I mean, he seems like a guy who's one of the most improved fighters in the roster. How's his camping going along?
Man, Darren's looking great. Rick's looking great. Even Sage. Sage is looking great. Everybody's been hitting it so hard. I love training with Darren. He's one of those just hard-nosed, just balls to the wall type of guy that just grinds. He's got that typical wrestling mentality, which a lot of us at Team Alpha Male have, and it's great being able to train with guys that are all like-minded and have that same drive. So, Darren's an animal.
This is a Team Alpha Male road trip coming up. So how's life after Justin Buckles been? I know that he hasn't been with the camp for a while unless something has changed. How's that been, and how are things shaping up in terms of the coaching duties at Team Alpha Male?
Yeah, man, I miss Buckles. I actually haven't seen that guy in quite a bit, but I know he's been training, and he actually has been fighting a little bit back in Alaska. But, the coaching situation's good. We have, plenty of guys that have completely taken over, and, guys like Holdsworth and Joey as far as our boxing, and, Faber's been stepping in and doing a lot of coaching, working a lot of one-on-one with guys. We have a full staff now, which is great. I enjoyed having Buckles in there. Buckles in there, I'd say majority of my camps, and was in my corner most of the time too. So, I missed the guy, but ultimately there was some, I guess, drama and stuff that happened at the gym that I stay out of all the time. I'm not a drama guy, so when any of that stuff happens, I just remove myself. So, yeah.
It's a shame of what's gone down with that, because you look at a couple of departures over the years. Martin Campman departed. Obviously, Dwayne Ludwig has stuck with TJ. Do you feel like consistency is an issue there?
I don't think so. I mean, Campman left just because of his family. I mean, he's obviously not from the U.S., so I know the wife and kids wanted to get back closer to family. So, I know that's why he left. Obviously, the drama with Dwayne and Faber, everybody knows about. Along with, there was some drama with Buckles too, but, it is what it is. I think every gym has issues and has drama. I just feel like Team Alpha Male is a little more well-known maybe, and that's why everybody focuses on it, but, it's definitely something that goes on at every gym.
You don't really know what happened with Buckles? You kind of stayed out of that?
No, I stayed out of it, man. I don't think it was anything too bad, but I just know Buckles was, ready to do his own thing, I think, and they just ended up figuring something out, and he left.
And finally, this weekend, we'll see if your fighting's improved, but has your hunting and fishing improved over the last 2 years?
I'd say so. I know last year was a damn good year, and my freezers are starting to get a little low, though. I've been supplying all my teammates with all my wild game and living off it myself, so it's definitely, season opens within the next couple months, so it'll be good. I'll get to restock and have meat for the rest of the year, so I'm excited.
And obviously, you have a fight coming up this weekend against Miles Jury, who's looked pretty good at featherweight. How can you break him down as an opponent? What potential challenges does he pose?
Miles, obviously he's a big guy. He's cutting down from 55. Miles is a guy that likes to counter-strike. He's tall. He waits for guys to come in, and, he does a lot of reverse strikes. He'll step back, throw specific strikes, like uppercuts, hooks. He'll even throw some overhands going backward. He'll like to use kicks to try to keep people at range. Ultimately, we've come up with a pretty solid game plan, which I feel really confident about. He actually fought my teammate, his last fight, Rick Glenn, and, being able to train with Rick as he was getting ready for this fight as well. This entire training camp has been huge. We have guys like Andre Feely who, are somewhat similar to, Miles' style. So it's, been great for me picking these guys' brain and being able to train with them the whole camp. And ultimately, I feel pretty confident going in there against a guy like that. So we'll see if the game plan holds true and we can get that W.
Obviously, you were removed from the UFC rankings due to the USADA thing, but now coming back, just say you get a win over Jury. Where do you think you fit in the division, Chad? Because, like I said, before you left, you only really lost to the best guys in the world. So, would you consider yourself still a top 5 guy? Do you have a call out ready to go against someone in the top 5?
Yeah, I definitely consider myself still a top 5 guy. Ultimately, I got to get in there and beat Miles first and prove to everybody that I'm back and that I still belong here. And ultimately, if I can get a fight with anybody in the top 5 after this, I'd be happy. Anyone in specific. What's making it tough is we have so many guys at featherweight now that are, part of Team Alpha Male that are in the featherweight top. I'd probably say top 8, top 10. So, we just got to figure out what makes sense as far as who's fighting who and when. And we've all talked about it. And if it's for a title, we would fight each other. But if not, it just doesn't make any sense. So we'll see what happens.
Well, Chad "Money" Mendes, good to have you back in the UFC. How does someone who's so into fishing and hunting get the nickname Money? Are you still sticking with Money?
Yeah, Money. So ultimately, how that nickname came about, whenever I graduated from college, the next day I moved up to a favorite gym and just jumped right into pro training with all these guys. And I had no stand-up. Obviously just a wrestler my whole life. So I put 16-ounce gloves on, headgear, shin guards. Never put those on, just feeling like a big dummy. And I'm getting popped with jabs and right hands and people throwing kicks. So I was like, screw this. I just started double-legging everybody. And after practice, we were all walking to go get lunch. And, the guys were like, dude, your shot is money. And Faber's like, that should be your nickname, Money Shot. So it was like my first 5 fights in the small show, it was actually Chad Money Shot Mendes. But
I don't know if you want to keep that one. You might want to backtrack off that.
I ended up signing a deal with Pepsi, and they're like, yeah, we're a family company, and you're going to have to change your nickname. So we just dropped the shot, so it became Money.
Well, you've become Chad the Hunter Mendes.
Yeah,
maybe
know, right?
You might want to change it up. Who knows? Well, Chad, thanks for your time.
Thanks,
Good luck
Chad.
this weekend. It's great to see you returning in the UFC in Boise, Idaho. It's a whole family affair with Team Alpha Male, and best of luck to you and your teammates this weekend.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.